Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to this presentation. First of all, I would like to introduce our group member. We are from group 2. I am Siti Zaenab and my friends Guntari, Sangga, Saputri and Ambar Fida. In this presentation, we will discuss about form and meanings. Okay, without any further ado, the first slide will be presented by Guntari. Please, Lucky.
Okay, thank you, Zainab. For the first slide, I can explain. For the form of a language refers to the actual word, phrases, clauses, sentences, paragraph, etc. These forms are referred to as the surface structure of a language. And then, meaning. Translation consists of transferring the meaning of the source of the source language into the receptor language, and this is done by going from the form of the first language to the form of the second language by way of semantic structure. Next slide. How the form and meaning affect translation? Translation by dictionary definition consists of changing from one state or from to another to turn into one's own or another's language. So, translation is basically a change of form. It is meaning which is being transferred and must be held constant. Only the form changes. The last one slide. Translation consists of study, like the lexicon, grammatical structure, communication situation, and cultural context of the search language text. And the next, analyzing, like it in order to determine its meaning. And the last one, reconstructing. The same meaning using the lexicon and grammatical structure which are apparent in the target language and its cultural context. Okay, for the next slide can be explained by Ambar Fida. Thank you.
The translation process according to Larson and developed by Say. Of the figure above, the forms of the text to be translated and the translation results are shown by the different forms between square and triangles, and then describes that in a translation text, the forms of the source language may be changed into appropriate forms of the receptor language in order to achieve the idiomatic translation. And next, in the figure above, there are 4 stages in the translation process that a translator must follow in order to move from the source language into the target language, namely analysis, discovery, transfer, and expression of meaning. And the last one is this description of the figure above, that is translator analyze a lexicon word by word. Then we can analyze grammatical structure. Next, we can analyze situational context when and to whom a certain statement expressed. And finally, we can analyze cultural context that is accepted in the TL. The most important thing is translate SL into TL by following the process and adjusting factors which influence the translation. Okay, next. Okay, for these slides, there is characteristic of language that affects. The number one is meaning package lexical item components differ from language to language. Example, there is anak-anak to be meaning children. And number two, the same meaning will occur in several surface structure lexical items forms. For example, there is in Indonesian, lem would be translated by anak domba, ram by domba jantan, and ewe by domba betina. Okay, and the last one is One form will be used to represent several alternative meanings. For example, we can also say the motor runs, the rifle runs, and his nose runs using run in secondary sense and with different meanings. In Indonesia, the sentence mean anak itu berlari, mesinnya jalan, air sungai mengalir, dan hidungnya merah. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, for there is the same grammatical pattern may express several quiet different meanings. For example, the English possessive phrase "my house" may mean the house I own, the house I rent, the house I live in, the house I built, or the house for which I draw up the plans. Only the larger context determines the meaning. Number five, whole sentence might also have several functions. A question form may be used for a non-question. For example, Mary, why don't you wash the dishes? Has the form of a question and may in some contexts be asking for information, but it is often used with the meaning of command or suggestion rather than a real question. And for number six, a syndrome may be expressed in a variety of forms. For example, the meaning the cat is black may be expressed by following the cat is black, the black cat, and the cat which is black.
Next slide is language is systemic or a system. Language is a system of systems. Subsystems within language include phonetic and phonology, sounds, morphology and lexicology, words, syntax, grammar, discourse analysis, sentences, and semantics, meanings. Language is a symbolic system of communication based on a complex system of rules relating to spoken, signed, or written symbols. Language is systematic. Language is systematic. Although language is symbolic, its symbols are arranged in a particular system, not in random manners. Certain sounds do not exist in certain languages. This makes a language mutually intelligible. Language is social. Language is social in that interaction with other persons is psychologically necessary to learn language. Language use is also part of social identity. Next, language is cultural. Language is intrinsic to the expressions of culture as a mean of communicating values, beliefs, and customs. It has important social function and fosters feelings of groups, identity, and solidarity. It is the means by which culture and its traditions and shared values may be conveyed and preserved. Language is dynamic. Language is dynamic because it is always changing, evolving, and adapting to the needs of its users. The language we use today is different from the language our parents use and different from the use in the Middle Ages. Language change enable us to accommodate new ideas, inventions, and technologies. Language is variation. Language is variation happens for many different reasons. It's based on the ideas that language varies because of the different social reasons such as age, race, gender, social economic status, geography, and etc. Language is meaningful. A language signal or symbol always convey meaning. In linguistic terms, all the symbols or signals or language have a semantic content. Language is a human. Language is human as it differs from animals' communication in several ways. Next, And the conclusion is meaning must have priority over from translations, both in the form of literal translations, a word for word translation which follows closely the form of the source language, and idiomatic translation, a translation which has the same meaning as the source language but it's expressed in the natural form of the target language. The goal of translator is to keep the meaning constant. Thank you for your listening. May all those we have shared be beneficial for all of us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.